Hey guys, it is early May and we're starting to heat up here in Arizona. It's getting really hot, and I was out here today and this is bouncing back a little bit, but during the heat of the day this is starting to kind of wilt over just a little bit, and you can tell that it's not liking the heat. So we're getting up into the mid to high 90s and we're going to be there most of the week. So I'm going to give it a water right now. And so you can see it has a little bit of leaf burn on it. And so it's not liking this heat coming on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get the shade cloth up today. And you can see I've got the remnants here from the shade cloth that I used last year on the tree that died in this exact spot. And so I'm going to reuse all the materials from last year. So what I'm going to do, it's very simple. My method here for doing shade cloth in any kind of structures in my yard really is I just drive in a piece of rebar down into the ground, and then I just slide the PVC over top of it. And so I've got it's already made over here, and so I'm gonna just put it right back in the spot that it was in last year, just exact same way, and then I'll connect the shade cloth over top of it. And so I like using the PVC because it's temporary, it's fairly sturdy. You know, it'll blow around in the monsoons and stuff like that, but I've never had the structure blow over, so it should be suitable for most areas, as long as it doesn't get too terribly windy. And so that's step one. I'm going to get the shade cloth on top of it, and then the next thing I've done is I've planted some little seedlings in here, and this is Egyptian spinach, and it's very small right now, but in a couple months this thing's going to be probably 8 feet tall. It grows really fast, and it's a great producer, and it loves the heat. And it also the leaves on these they stay cool even in the hot parts of the day. So I like it as kind of a microclimate builder. And so what I'm hoping is, as this grows up, this is the south side of the tree over on this side, and I'm hoping this will grow up and kind of protect the plant when it gets really, really hot. And so that's a hope. I think I'm going to try to get some ground cover plants in here to kind of spread out over this rock and just kind of cool this area off. That's the plan. You can see over here I planted a couple of watermelons. These watermelons are going to vine out this way. And I'm just going to do everything I can to kind of cool this area off just a little bit, just enough to get this thing through the summer. All right, there we go. I'm about 5 minutes into this project now, so that's kind of the benefit of leaving this PVC in the ground, or the rebar in the ground, because then the next year everything's set up. You've already got the cuts made, and it's just really quick to throw back together. Now, I should say, if you're going to leave rebar pounded into the ground, make sure you put something over it, sleeve it like this, because this rebar will absolutely cut your leg open. You'll walk by, you'll kind of forget about it, you'll be harvesting off your tree or whatever, and you're going to cut your leg open really good, and you will bleed. Ask me how I know. Okay, so anyway, just wanted to point that out. Very important to make sure you protect yourself. But if you look up here, all I did was I just measured how tall do I want this, and I wanted mine to be about as tall as the wall over here. So it's about 6 feet tall, maybe a little bit over 6 feet tall. And so I just cut my 4 pieces 6 feet tall, and notice how much I have in between the top of the tree and the shade cloth area. So that's about 3 feet there, I'd say, about 3 feet. You want to make sure you have plenty of room, because what happens is the shade cloth is black, and I would recommend getting a lighter brown color if you can, but this is all I have. But these things will heat up in the summertime, and they'll just collect heat and radiate heat. And so if it's really close to your tree, it's just gonna help bake your tree. So it's best if you can have at least 3 feet above it. So that's what I'm going to do. If you look over here, I put these are just kind of to help keep the the shade cloth up and give it a little bit more support and structure. And so I just use these 3-way PVCs that go like this. And then you just kind of, you place them as far apart as you need them. And then you measure and you cut this top piece the same distance as you have at the bottom. And the same thing over here. So it's really super simple to make. If you have one of those little PVC cutters, this job is as easy as it gets, and it's so easy to take up and down and store. So it's my go-to for shade, because in a couple years, when this tree hopefully has made it through their summers here and matured, it's not going to need the shade cloth anymore. So this, I don't want anything too permanent. So this thing I'll just take it down, use it somewhere else in the yard, no problem. So nothing fancy here. This is just 1/2 inch. And if you want, you can use 3/4 inch PVC just to give it a little bit more rigidity. I went with the 1/2 inch because it was cheaper and I had some extra from my irrigation in the yard. So I just wanted to reuse it. And just make sure that when you buy your rebar, that the PVC that you purchase will slip over top of it. You don't want to buy, 3/4 inch rebar and then your 3/4 inch PVC won't fit over it. So just make sure that your rebar is smaller. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this over the top, and then I've got these clips here, and I'm just going to clip it. I've got these guys, so I'm just going to clip it in several places. Let me show you that next. Alright guys, there you go. It's all set up. So you'll notice on mine, I just have the shade cloth over the direct top of it. Now it'd probably be a little more appropriate to kind of bring this out a little bit further and shade it down in front of it too, when you have a real sensitive tree like this. But in my case, that's what I planted these plants down here for. So as these grow up, I'm going to have protection around this whole side here, and it's going to give protection most of the day. And so but in your case, you may want to just extend this out and bring it down and just give it protection that way. All right guys, so that's it. If you don't have your shade cloth up yet on your sensitive trees, now's a good time to do it. Get it up before it gets too hot and start stressing the tree out. All right guys, thanks for watching.